pledge allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Allen. Here. Broughton.
Here.
Darno.
Here.
Homa. Here. Cordella.
Here.
Marshall is absent. Furman.
Here. At this time, we need to approve our agenda, and I would like to add an adult foster care facility moratorium to the agenda as item H. Is everyone okay with that? I put one in everybody's. We're okay with that?
Well, I don't know. This is a trigger item, isn't it? So why don't we move it up to the front? You know what I mean? I'm serious.
I know, that's why I didn't write it down already. Terry wrote it down already, and I said, we might change it somewhere, so I didn't write it down.
Okay, I'm just
I
bringing.
don't know, how does everybody else feel? Where do you want it on the?
Top. Top.
At the top.
At the top.
Above reports or
Oh,
just?
new business.
Okay.
Not a new business.
New
All right.
business.
Make it A of new business,
Yeah,
move everything
move
else
everything
down.
else
Yep.
down.
Okay.
Yep. Excellent, thanks.
Okay. No problem. Bless you.
Thank you.
Are there any other changes or discussion to the agenda tonight?
Yes, I'd like to move item G to item B, or actually, yeah, item G to item B.
I agree with that.
Which would be?
Lake Louise,
Edinburgh?
no,
No,
Lake Louise.
Lake
Well, we
Louise.
renamed everything, so that's why I was asking which one.
The old item G up to new item B. I'm just trying to see if we can move as many people out of here.
So everything else moves down twice?
Yep.
2 spots.
So we're talking the SAD administrative fee,
Yes.
like.
If they want to stay, they can stay.
Sure.
It's always nice to
Sure.
have people here to see what we're doing.
I know,
We
so,
don't know
yeah.
what we're doing. That's what I'm-
So what did we decide, everyone? So old G is now B?
Yes.
Especially with Tony and
That's why.
So A, the old A is C, the old B is D, the old C is E, the old D is F, the old E is G, and the old F is H. Okay, you good, Courtney?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Any other changes or discussion on the agenda? Who would like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Cordella to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Agenda has been approved unanimously. So now we will move on to our reports. We have our monthly treasury report first, followed by a general ledger report, our designated report, and our reconciliation report. Our building department report shows that the amount of new homes are down by about 10 compared to last year at this time. And next is our recreation report, and our recreation director is here this evening, so if you would like to step up to the podium.
Thank you and good evening. My report, just a couple things I want to add to that. First of all, thank you Trustee DePalma for attending the postseason baseball meeting. It was about half attended by the coaches. They had some issues with attending, they were out of town or something like that. But Trustee DePalma came with open mind and clear some things up. And she gets a lot of phone calls, of course. So that's a good thing, I really appreciate that, really good. The only other thing I want to add, as I said in my report, the DNR was considering combining the two 2016 for the baseball fields, parking, 2017 grant, basketball court, volleyball, parking, combine them in one bid packet because we continue to get behind schedule. We were supposed to have this out for bid by June 3rd. HRC and the DNR have been going around the table trying to get the scope of the grant matching up what's on the blueprint. And they finally got together and they got that worked out. So I received an email today. I sent it to the park subcommittee meeting, but I'll just read it real quick. She said that, and I did contact HRC, have HRC combine the two grants into a single contract, but with two separate bid sections for each grant. It must technically be two separate bids and awards for accounting and audit purposes. But your contract document can indicate that the award will go to the lowest combined total bid and will not be broken. So basically, we're gonna save a lot of money that way. And Supervisor and I were talking about that this morning. We do not have the agreement yet for the 2017, and Mary Harlock, our coordinator, is aware of that. They got the documents July 6th, and they moved slow, so we're expecting that anytime. But she said to have HRC move forward on getting that bid come on. And I don't know if you guys know, but as far as the skate park goes, they had been a date for September 15th that we'll be out of the Sherman Village Park and move to a new site. Any questions?
Thank you, Fred. Okay, next we have a sheriff's report. We have Lieutenant Glover here.
This is the 6-month report that I give every year. So far for 2018, the first 6 months of the year, we've responded to 3,971 dispatch calls within the township and the village combined. We've had an increase of 753 calls compared to the same time period that we had in 2017. Throughout the township, we're 741 calls ahead of where we were at last year. And for the village, we're 12 calls ahead of where we were at last year. It's about 153 calls a week, 22 calls a day. You know, one day we might have 30 calls, another day we might have 12 calls. It depends on the way that it's averaged out. That is a large increase in calls. It doesn't seem like it's stopped since last November. It's been consistently. With traffic enforcement, due to the complaints that we've had on the back roads, as well as several roads within the village, we've increased our traffic enforcement. We've written 951 traffic citations the first 6 months of the year, with 302 of those being warnings. The warnings you don't have to go to court on, and basically you're being made aware of what that violation is. You don't have to go to court on. Same time period last year, we wrote 787 citations. I've listed the citations by category. You can see those. Our traffic crashes are up this year. First 6 months, we've had 165 traffic accidents. Yes.
Can we ask Lieutenant a question?
Do you have a question for him? Go ahead.
You know, on the warnings, you know, I've had a couple of those in my lifetime, and basically it was because, you know, I knew that I'm speeding or whatever, and I pulled over the side of the road, and the pursuing officer basically appreciated that. The bottom line is, he then said, tell you what, I'm going to cite you this way, there's gonna be no points in your record, however, you need to go pay the fine. Is that the kind of warnings we're giving out or not?
No.
So they're not,
No,
they just get a warning?
Warning,
no
no,
fine?
warning is just like it states. It's a
Okay.
warning. You don't have to go to court on it.
Okay, just wondering, because I had to pay the fine. And I was more than happy to do that, but.
Can the officers do that at the time of issuing the violation?
Can they do what at the time of issuing the violation?
Well, I mean, basically, he said that I'm gonna put it in as a, I forgot what the code was. Okay, this was a no-violent police officer at the time. And I've also had another one someplace else. But anyways, he basically said, I'm gonna put it in as this. There's gonna be no points on your record. If you stay clean for the next 6 months, then it basically goes off your record, but you still have to pay the fine.
Yes, I mean, that's called an impeding traffic ticket. And if I stopped you for doing 10 or 15 over and I wanted to give you the break and didn't want you to get the points and it didn't affect your driving record, they would give you an impeding traffic, which is often what's awarded to a driver that has a good driving record when you go to court.
Yeah.
You know, we don't
It's
want
automatic.
we don't want to see you get the points and then it affect your insurance.
Right, that
And
was
impeding
all.
traffic is the best thing you can do.
Yeah. But do you guys give those out?
Daily. Quite often, just quite often.
Just one.
Our traffic crashes are up this year. We've had quite a few serious accidents, more of those involving motorcycles, with some critical type injuries. Our private property accident reports are up a little bit, 29, but we've had 136 actual traffic crashes on our roadways, which is up.
A lot of the crashes, were there more crashes, do you think, outside the middle school in the morning of people trying to turn left there?
No.
Okay. This was my first year with a child that's a student at the middle school, and I've seen a lot coming in the morning, and I'm lucky I get to turn right out of there. And the people who have to turn left, I started seeing that some people would actually turn right and go up some and then, you know, do something like up by 8, but they would turn around and come back the other way, not in the middle of the road, they'd pull into a parking lot and safely turn around.
I wouldn't say we have had some accidents there. I wouldn't say they're any more of an increase. Our accidents are between Oak Hill and Oakwood on 15, with more of them probably between Glass and Wolf Road.
Okay.
McDonald's still seems to be a major spot for us, as well as where the Dollar General is because of not having a turn lane there.
Okay, because the other thing I was gonna do is maybe try to suggest to the school for them to get out to the more of the parents to cut through the bus street.
Those
to turn
suggestions
in.
have been made because prior to closing those schools, I had a lot of conversations with Dr. Outlaw about that traffic and trying to get people to also leave Harvey Swanson and go out the back way and use Granger Road. But we can't force people to do that.
No,
but
you
that-
can't, but if you put sign, you know, like maybe they can do something.
And a lot of the traffic is cutting through where the bus garage is and coming out the light, which has been easier for them. But we have had accidents there, I mean, there's no question.
Yeah, I've seen some, so I'm just curious.
But most of our serious accidents have been on M15. We have had a couple of them on Baldwin. We've had a couple of them on Oakwood. We've had a couple of them on Hadley, north of Oakwood, in the curve up there, just before you go into Lapeer County.
And they put up signs there, they put up
See that?
some, arrow signs
Yes,
there, yes,
which was way overdue.
yes.
I showed that the crimes have increased in the township. Assault and battery is still probably one of our bigger ones. Operating under the influence of alcohol or drugs is on a definite increase this year. Last year, we had a nice decrease in drunk driving. This year, so far, it's on the increase. Larcenies from buildings is on the increase right now. We have been hit with a rash in the last 2 weeks of larcenies on our back roads from not only beanies of homes, but outbuildings and people going through cars. We've taken 11, 12 reports in the last week and a half. I do have an article coming out in the paper, reference that, maybe a couple tips on some things that need to be done. At first, it was, more cars, things that were doors were unlocked, but we have had a couple of doors that have been kicked.
Is it a specific area or is it scattered?
No, it's really been down the Satchball corridor. A little bit out on Oakwood. Oxford's had a couple of them, and a lot of our private roads. Sleepy Hollow had one. Meadow Lake Lanes had a couple. Private roads, which is really out of the norm for us because most career criminals don't want to go down a one-way street where there's no way out. And we have, for some reason, they're picking a lot of the private roads. And some of them our homes are quite a ways off the road. We had one a couple weeks ago, for instance, it was a couple of them during the day, and somebody went to a house, it was a man, knocked on the door. There had to be a 13-year-old girl there, but she had a dog that was quite large and quite vicious. He left that house, went somewhere else, and kicked another door about 4 or 5 doors down, and that was at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Vehicles we should be looking for?
The pickup that was seen in that one was a Dodge Ram 1500, dark gray in color.
Great.
But almost all of ours have been on the back roads, and like I said, it's definitely on the increase, but the surrounding townships are getting a little bit of the same thing. The summary of this, for 2018, our caseload has just consistently increased. Like I said, 753 calls for the first 6 months is almost off the charts for us. We weren't prepared for that. We're dealing with it as far as staff with dispatch calls. The problem is that puts a heavier burden on our detective bureau. With the more dispatch calls, the more caseload you have. Due to citizen complaints, and we've had quite a few with traffic, not only in the village but also on the back roads, we have made a heavy effort on back roads where our complaints are. And like I said, our traffic enforcement has increased. The problem is that we don't have time to sit for hours. And sometimes we're required during the busier times of the day just to sit and do traffic. But we've written more tickets. We've had a kind of a rule since I came out here. We have tried not to write tickets to our township citizens more than we have to. Because of the complaints, and especially in the village and on the back roads, we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit because the message isn't getting through with warnings. So we have increased regular tickets, hoping to slow some people down. Like I said, we've had a small increase in traffic crashes. Our substation clearance rate, which is a big deal for us, that is reported offenses that the FBI rates. And those micro offenses are the ones that determine every year the safest cities or townships in the state. Currently, we're at a little over 60%, which is still very high for our first 6 months. So we're on pretty good track of where we were at last year there. I've listed the crimes. The crimes have increased. Again, fraud is also another big one for us. The fraud, the phone calls, the mailings still seem to be coming through. Again, our theft from motor vehicles and our school incidents. Last year, our school incidents were off the chart, and I think some of that is because of prior school liaisons that didn't necessarily deal with every incident the way that it should have been. And I've made it a point that if the school, no matter which school it is, if they call for one of our officers, that's a police incident, and we take a number for that and call it that. Again, with our schools, our goal is not to arrest every 17-year-old because he's a legal adult. We try to push everything through Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance, keep those kids out of the court system. However, on occasion, that doesn't happen. We have arrested some 17-year-olds, mainly for drugs. Matter of fact, all of them have been for drugs, really. I also give you also the calls and whatnot, verified offenses for the village as well. We've also had some issues on Baldega Lake. I was contacted by the Baldega Lake Association about a marine patrol on Baldega Lake because of mainly because of recklessness out there. People that have lived on the lake for years stated that they've kind of lost the lake, haven't been able to enjoy the lake like they could at one time, mainly due to recklessness. We've had a couple of accidents out there. We had one out there with 3 young girls on a jet ski. None of them had life jackets on. Those are the type of calls we're dealing with. Those girls were all injured, one of them a little more so than the other ones. So we have put a Marine Division boat on that lake. And again, our goal is not to, because it's a private lake, not write every boat owner and homeowner that lives on that lake. But they have been directed that anything that is of recklessness to deal with that, including tickets. Some of the jet ski issues are young kids. We're not writing the young kids for the jet ski issues, but we have been writing their parents. And let the parents deal with it since they're responsible for their kids. That's all I have.
All right, very good. Did anybody have any questions for Greg? Any other questions? Anything else?
Good, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We also have a fire department report, and I don't see the fire chief here tonight, so we'll just have to read our reports. We have an Edna Burton Senior Center Senior Center report tonight, a CDBG report, and then that brings us to trustee reports. Trustee Broughton, would you like to start us off?
Okay, I say when was the election was a couple weeks ago, or last week I should say. And good job, Candy. Thanks to everyone that did vote for me. We also met with a number of the residents regarding some issues in Sleepy Hollow, but I don't think I need to get into it any further because it's going to have its own discussion. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Trustee DePalma?
I'm on a little catch up because I did miss the July meeting, being that it was the week of 4th of July. I was up north, so I just wanted to catch up on a few thank yous to the DDA and everybody who put on the circus, the fireworks, all the help there from the CERT, just everything. My family and I all had a great time at the food truck rallies and the circus and the fireworks. I also attended the Sleepy Hollow meeting, but we'll be discussing that later. At our last meeting, and I thought this would be kind of good to bring up to everybody, we were talking about, well, I was mentioning that a survey was done recently by the government, and everybody said, oh my God, Dana, you were scammed. There was no surveys. The census is until 2020, and I'm like, no, I know I did one, but I had to go home and look it up. It's called the American Community Survey, and it is an ongoing survey by the U.S. Census Bureau, and it's sent to approximately 295,000 addresses monthly, or 3.5 million a year, and it is the largest household survey that the Census Bureau administrates. So anyways, I just thought I'd let you guys know it is getting out to this area, so if you receive it, you can always go online to the census or call the number to make sure you did get a correct survey, which I did, and there's actually some things the township could go out and look at because it's a community comparison survey of a bunch of different things. So once they issue it, we might want to take a look at it and see what it did if other people in the community got the survey besides me. So I just thought I'd fill you guys in because we were all a little nervous about what survey I took. Thank you, Candy, for everything your department did for the elections and everybody who helped. I did attend the Parks and Recs coaches meeting. I'm not part of the committee. I just wanted to attend it from hearing everything that I heard, and I was glad I attended it, and hopefully I did help some. My retirement oversight committee meeting, we did meet too, and discussed our OPEB and our actuarial, and I think that's it. Oh, and I met with Dr. Outlaw regarding the welcome wagon, which I'll talk about later, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Cordella?
I have nothing to report really. The planning commission is still, as far as I know, in a holding pattern with regards to the Taco Bell situation. I haven't seen anything, but I haven't looked at my emails in about 4 or 5 days. Maybe there's something coming up. I hope there is. And I hope that
Yeah,
everybody.
I don't know if it's Taco Bell, but there is a meeting on the 28th, and it's going to be the ordinance revisions for adult foster care.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
so I don't know if Taco Bell's going to be able to get their stuff in order
Back
for
together
that meeting.
by then.
Or not.
Yeah, I knew that about the ordinance. I think that's way off. But that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, treasurer's report.
Well, we're in the middle of our summer tax season. We've already taken in over $1 million, so to say the least, for 2.5 people, that's very busy. For those of you who have escrow accounts, large banks have not come in yet, don't panic. If you don't have an escrow account, remember that we accept partial payments, and if you make your payment after the 14th of September, if the 1% penalty per month is only on the unpaid portion. So it's not like a car payment where you have to make the same amount. It's whenever and however much you can afford. And as always, if you have any questions, call our office. We're here, and enjoy what's left of the summer. It's going fast.
All right, thank you. Clerk's report.
Hello, everybody. On August 2nd, our library hosted a Purple Heart ceremony, which was very well attended. There was one empty seat in the room. So I'd like to thank our VFW, Dennis Hoffman, the commander, for putting that together. It was great to see a lot of people there. And then on August 4th, I attended the 50th anniversary of the Ortonville Community Historical Society. They've been a group for 50 years. So our Secretary of State, Ruth Johnson, attended, which was nice. There was about 50 people attended that, so it was a good day. Election day was wonderful. Lots of phone calls from our workers and our staff, but everybody seemed to, we didn't have any glitches. The county actually okayed all of our documents that I have to take to the county 2 days after the election, which is like a record for Brandon. So I was very pleased. We did hire new election workers, and they all seem excited, and have already said they'll work in November. And I am looking for more people, so if you know anybody interested in elections, we've got one coming in November, and we'll start training in September. Ballots will be in my office September 22nd, so it's coming fast. And I think that's it for me.
All right, thank you. For the clerk's report this evening is pretty short. I just wanted to let everyone know. Oh, supervisors. Okay, I'm giving the supervisor's report.
We need that.
The Road Commission for Oakland County has started the primaries, and then next week they hope to start the secondary gravel roads as far as grading and chloriding. There has been no speed study done yet as far as the state police coming and doing their speed study in order for us to alter our speed limit signs out there. So we're still waiting on that to happen. They have 14 days after the roads get done to come out and do their speed study. So they get called every time they're done grading, but they just haven't come out here yet. So we're still waiting on that to happen. I just wanted to say that the election went very well, and thank you to all the candidates who were willing to serve, and thank you to the clerk's office for all of the work that you did in running a really good election. And I also wanted to thank the VFW, DDA, and the Lions for our club for all their recent events that they put on as well. That's it for me. So we'll move on to correspondence. We have Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes of May 23rd, 2018. And we have Zoning Board of Appeal meeting minutes of June 27th, 2018. So that brings us to citizens' comments. And before we start citizens' comments, I would just like to read what we had decided a few meetings ago. During citizens' comments, we ask that you stand at the podium and direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it is not required, we also ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So who would like to be first? Dwight? Citizens' comments for agenda items. Dwight has given us a handout. If you'd like to follow along.
I have more available if anybody wants one.
Dwight Woodbridge, 151 Harbor Point, Ortonville. Also the president of the Lake Louise Homeowners Association. And up on the board over there is the documents that I've provided you if you want to look out there or actually read. The first document is the township responsibilities for special assessment district. This has been put together in Michigan Township meeting back in October 2005. I'm not going to go through it, but you can see several of the items for each of the members or people that within the township that do different things on the SAD district are outlined in blue. Those items are items that are done also by Oakland County, the Lake Board, since Lake Louise has a Lake Board. So that alleviates some of the tasks that the township would have to do on our particular special assessment district. The second page is the township administration fee comparison. Rich, can you pull thing back? It's the second board. Thank you. So we took some data and looked across the local communities, and if you look at the fee structure for two townships, A and B, the Township A uses a two-tier system. Lakes that have a lake board are charged at a reasonable rate, and that's determined by the workload for that particular lake. The SAD 188 is charged at a percentage rate, and this township operates on a sliding percentage scale depending on needs. The second Township B is also kind of a two-tier system. They do a flat fee assessed at a reasonable rate. That is a flat fee established to keep the cost capped to a reasonable level, although that does operate under an SAD 188 that is also under a percentage basis. That township also has some lakes that operate under a different percentage than other projects that they have. If you look at the actual fee comparison, in Brandon Township, for anybody that doesn't know, is proposing a 7% administrative fee on our Lake Association weed control program, which our budget is $43,000 a year. That comes to $3,010 annually, so for our 82 parcels, that's a fee of $36.70 per parcel. Township A charges between $250 and $675 annually, and their lake that is on the high end of the scale is an 89 parcel lake. It actually requires more effort than what the Lake Louise, because they have additional facility services that they get over and above, like weed control and the dam maintenance. That's what our lake takes. The second township, they charge a flat fee for a 250 parcel lake at $1,500. Their lakes under their SAD is charged $740 for 103 parcels. In summary, both townships charge an administrative fee that is between $6 and $7.58 per parcel to perform the required administrative duties of the SAD district. And that's on the high end of their lakes. Other ones actually, they get a lower fee. Brandon Township is proposing a fee of $36.70 per parcel, which is roughly 5 times other local administrative fees. Also, those two communities demographically are 9% to 12% higher in terms of their average income compared to Brandon Township. You can see the chart in the lower right-hand corner, which you have. It shows that the 5-time increase. So in summary, feedback from the surrounding townships, they indicate about 20 hours of resource needs to do the job. Our recommendation is that Brandon Township adopt a reasonable fee as described in Section 6 of the Public Improvement Acts, where you can deduct a service charge for reasonable administrative costs. And we feel that fee should be no higher than $7.60 per parcel annually. That's actually at the high end of what local area, northern Oakland County lakes are being charged. Thank you very much.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak to an agenda item? Yes, ma'am.
Karen Roth, Brandon Township. Again, same issues as Dwight is speaking about, and I think the biggest thing that we need to look at is defining what reasonable is. And Webster defines it as being in accordance with reason, rightly or justifiable, moderate or fair, rational, inexpensive, and appropriate for a particular situation. And that it should be proportionate to the necessary costs of the service. Black's Law Dictionary defines reasonable as fair, proper, or moderate under the circumstances. So according to the Handbook for General Law, village officials, it actually states that the charges must bear a direct relation to the cost of providing the service to the rate payer. Furthermore, it's a requirement that rates be uniformly applied and charges be proportional to the value of the services rendered and the cost of providing the service, per Alexander versus Detroit. According to the Public Improvement Act 188 of 1954, administrative funds collected for a special assessment district can only be utilized for administrative costs. So I went through and made some assumptions. that cost be evenly distributed amongst the 82 parcels. I did some pricing just yesterday, so these prices are not out of date with Staples, to look at some things that may go into doing this. Things like paper, Arima paper, $6.50 comes out to 0.013 cents per sheet, comes out to $1.07. Okay? Pens, 21 cents if you split them up. Postage, $40.18 for the mailing. Labels, if we want to go custom printed labels, it comes out to $3.72. If we do for just the regular white labels, it comes out for $2. Custom printed envelopes, it would come out to $11.32 for regular ones. It comes out to $2.46. Toner, $150, and you can get anywhere between 1,500 sheets and 34,500. So it comes out to an average of between $8.20 for $3.28. So I figured $8. Printing costs, if we just went to Staples directly, it's 11 cents a print. So what this really comes out to is $58.46. Now, if we want to look at salary, like Dwight said, the others are doing it for 20 hours. We've got some smaller amounts than what they do. If we look at salaries that are being paid,
30 seconds.
okay, if we're looking at what salaries are being paid, what's really happening is we are being charged at the highest person's rate right now for 40 hours, when the others are doing it in 20 hours, it would be $1,153.60. When you look at it like that, the $3,000, $3,010 is way out of line. Thank you.
Dave, we live on Sleepy Hollow. It's about the group home issue. I was just kind of wondering, I think we all were, about the moratorium or the temporary injunction. We pretty much started everything on this issue and kind of kicked off in January. Had a big meeting in May that filled up the township. I've been out here, my wife and I, probably 20 years almost. You know, I know we've gone over this before, but incident-wise, you know, I've probably seen this out 2 or 3 times in the first 19 years. Last 6 months, or not even that long, since that meeting, they've been out 8 or 9 times, you know, not maintaining orderly households. They've been out for a rape threat and a murder threat by the employees to a neighbor who now moved. Let's see, we've all had alarm systems installed. I had an alarm system installed, my wife and I, last week because someone broke into our barn and stole some items. That particular issue, I can't blame on them, but I find it a little concerning that I work with some people who live in Goodrich right behind the other building that the same individual company is building, and they're all having the same problems. They're getting break-ins like they've never had before to outbuildings, some houses, mainly outbuildings and cars. I don't know why, when he moved in, 2 rapists, I'm sorry, across the street from 3 little girls. I don't know why that wasn't child endangerment right there. I got the definition right here. You know, it says, any action or behavior the person engages in that places a child in imminent danger of bodily injury, mental or physical impairment, or death. So that should have been taken care of right away, and we brought it up quite a few times. I do want to thank the board. I know you guys have been working on it. And most of the things, I think, goes to my wife Diane, Tracy, and Lisa back there, because they have been putting in ungodly hours on this. They're probably putting in as many hours at home as they are at work. And it's kind of ridiculous, in my opinion, for as many things that have gone wrong. And the other one was the Senate bill, number 17. This is for future, for anyone that doesn't know. 1,500-foot rule. It says right in there, a state licensing shall not, you know, propose a residential facility if another state licensed facility is within 1,500 feet. To me and most of us, I think that's the end of the list. Now we're on the brink of losing a couple more neighbors. All right, I'm almost done. And so where do we get out the moratorium? Or is it just a comment and we have to wait for later? Okay. All right.
So you're in favor of the moratorium?
Well, I know a moratorium is usually done by a legislative body, I thought, and then an injunction was a court order, I thought, the way I understood it. Yes, but I don't know which one of those particular items, you know, would have to be presented as. You have to ask a township attorney. I know it's one of the two. But oh yeah, I'm in favor. I'm in favor of getting rid of the one that's there. Thanks.
Anyone else that would like to? Oh. That must be you.
I just want to thank you guys also for answering all our questions.
Would you state your name?
Sorry. Tracy. Last name is Morley, 327 City College. And I apologize for being late, but as I was leaving, I didn't like what I saw at our group home neighbor. So I turned around and one of the kids come with me. It was very difficult to convince my 14-year-old that he needed to come with me for safety reasons. He's not very happy. But after listening to Lieutenant Glover, I'm glad I made it came. But my main point is just to follow up on the new wording on the ordinance. I just want to make sure it's including 6 and under or 12 and under, not like 7 and 12. I just want to make sure I'm understanding your email right. And then 1,500 foot rule also. And then just thought on the owner occupied facility. I know some townships have it. I don't see it in Michigan, but just throwing it out there for people to know.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Diane. I reside at Brandon Township. Last year, Brandon Township was voted in as the top 10 safest cities to reside in. My question to the board is, where did we fall on that list today? Our crime rate and police calls have shown a significant increase just on our street alone and the surrounding streets from April to May. Excuse me, from April to May, since this group home has been in service. Bob Marshall spoke at the May meeting regarding the increased numbers of calls from April to May to 301 Sleepy Hollow. At that time, there were 7 calls placed during this time frame, and prior to that, since the building of the home 19 years prior, there was only one call to that, and it was medical. Recently, in less than a week, 2 more calls were placed for fighting, yelling, loud profanity, and that was on the 29th of July and August 2nd. But let me tell you, it's a nightly occurrence. The language, the fighting, the yelling, it's nightly. We have children on our street. It's just been awful. Then there's the break-ins. We were broke into last week, which is a major invasion of privacy. I can't say that it's in fact due to this group home, but the crimes on Meadow Lake Lane is just one street over. The crime on Sashaba is just a quarter. It's just all right there in that vicinity, so it just kind of makes us a little bit suspicious in that. We've all had to endure alarm systems. 3 of us on our street and the neighbors over on Meadow Lake Lane. We've had to install fences to keep these residents from trespassing on our property. It's just, where does it end? 20 years ago, when we were looking to purchase our property, realtors warned us of areas to stay away from, crime, drugs, school districts. Are we that area now? We've been approached by people looking at houses close to us in proximity, and one family did their due diligence and searched the area because this property on Wood Point is a quarter of a mile down. And when she saw the articles about the group home, she investigated. They're not purchasing in Brandon anymore. And that I invited them to this meeting tonight. They had a lot of questions for us as to what the township was doing with the amount of group homes we have and the issues that it's brought. And I said, I can't answer that. You need to come and do that. So I just really implore that we get a moratorium. I don't want another group home on my street. If we can get that 1,500 ruling in, it would really help. There's 7 homes that have gone on the market in the last 3 weeks, all within less than a quarter of a mile of us. They all right, boom, boom, boom. So close. One on our street. We're losing all our neighbors because of this. And it's sad.
Oh. Diane, for the record, what is your last name?
Burley.
Okay.
My name is Lisa Pagano Lawrence. I live on Sleepy Hollow. I want to start with, for the last 20 years, we have been what I am sure the board members would consider ideal residents. We pay our taxes and we keep our mouth shut. We don't bother anybody. And I know whether people want to admit it or not, that's what you'd like to see. We have not asked anything of this board in 20 years. We've paid our taxes, even though we have virtually no township services, other than police and fire. No sewers, no water, no trash, and treacherous roads that destroy our vehicles. We have done this willingly, with the understanding that the township board is looking out for the best interest of the community and that they would keep us safe. We were clearly mistaken. Kathy Thurman has requested that Tracy Morley be her point of contact for this issue from this point forward. I find that to be insulting, outrageous, and an inappropriate request. As individual taxpayers, we should all be encouraged to contact those people who were elected to protect us, our homes, and the character of our community. Would it be acceptable if the residents of Sleepy Hollow were to decide only one of us would pay our property taxes? I'll bet not. We each have worked very hard to build our lives here. Imagine for a moment that we as individuals have our own point of view, our own opinions, and our own questions and ideas about how to resolve this issue. We have paid our taxes, and I believe that gives each and every one of us the right to contact the township officials with concern for our safety and our community, even if it inconveniences them. This request leads me further to believe that Ms. Thurman does not appreciate the gravity of the situation. I wonder if there were suddenly criminals living in close proximity to her home, if the situation would suddenly become serious and would miraculously be resolved. I sincerely hope that the request for one point of contact, if ignored, does not lead to further lack of action on the part of any township board member. I would be ashamed if my legacy was to sit back and watch decent, hardworking people be run out of their homes by a criminal. It's already started, and I hope you seriously consider what will be left after many decent people have gone. Also, it is very frustrating for us who are contacting the township to ask serious, important questions and get little or no response, and get possibly a response, but not getting our questions answered. That is unacceptable. It makes us feel like you want us to just go away. And I ask, what will be left if we just go away? Those people that will be left, I guarantee you, will not be the kind of people that you want to live near. Also, it is my understanding that in January of this year, a neighbor of 301 Sleepy Hollow notified the township and the building inspector of changes to the property that required permits which were not obtained. After being notified of the renovations, the inspector went to perform an inspection.
I understand that although there were renovations that required permits, apparently this particular homeowner is not subject to the same rules as everyone else. I believe at the time the inspector required the homeowner to change the septic field to accommodate the increased number of bedrooms, but did not fine the homeowner for that or the other renovations that he did not pull permits for. I would like to know why. Is he above the law? Why are permits required for certain renovations? Is it because the township wants to make sure that the renovations are completed safely and appropriately? Is it to collect fees? Why was this person allowed to continue with no recourse? If the permits are not necessary for one resident, they should not be necessary for any. And if the building inspector's not doing his job, maybe he shouldn't be the building inspector. Also, the statement from Lieutenant Glover, the increase of 753 calls compared to last year, and so many are in our immediate neighborhood, 11 to 12 in the last week and a half alone. This is not a coincidence. It's outrageous. And if something doesn't get done, people are gonna start leaving. And it's absurd. We've built our life here for 20 years. We had no intention of ever moving. Now, we're looking, and we're sure not looking in Brandon Township.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on agenda items? Okay, it looks like we're all quiet, so we can move on with our meeting. Okay, we have no discussion this evening, so we'll move on to our consent agenda. On our consent agenda, we have regular meeting minutes of July 2nd, 2018. We have regular bills in the amount of $29,731.63. We have prepays in the amount of $482,190.58. We have township benefits from payroll account of $30,072.21. And we have trustee timesheets in the amount of $594. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? I have a motion by Treasurer Darnell, and it is seconded by Trustee Cordella to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion on the consent agenda this evening? Okay, roll call, please.
DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Allen?
Yes.
Bratton?
Yes.
Darnell?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. We have no unfinished business this evening, so we can move right to our new business. And first, our first item of new business is the adult foster care facility moratorium. So, please consider this moratorium to prohibit additional adult foster care facilities in Brandon Township until an ordinance regulating their placement can be put into effect. And the resolution is, whereas Brandon Township has 2 sections of residential ordinances pending that will address the placement of adult foster care facilities within Brandon Township, and whereas there appears to be confusion and conflict within the state law provisions for adult foster care facilities, and whereas the most recent adult foster care facility in Brandon Township housed 2 sex offenders on parole which violated MCL 125.32062, MCL 400.703 4H, MCL 400.7136, MCL 400.7043, MCL 400.7054, and Brandon Township Code of Ordinances, Section 46204B3. And therefore, be it resolved by the Charter Township of Brandon that, in the interest of promoting and protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the public, a moratorium to prohibit additional adult foster care facilities in Brandon Township will be put in place until an ordinance regulating their placement can be put into effect.
I will make that motion, Kathy has presented.
I'll support it.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and read the motion?
I will, to approve the resolution for an adult foster care facility moratorium as presented, subject to the township attorney revisions. And then I have a comment.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I'll support that.
All right, go ahead with your comment.
I have to say, for me personally, this specific topic is probably the most important thing that I've worked on as a trustee. It's also the thing that's consumed the most of my time as a trustee. And I know, as I've put in the paper, I've said, I understand some of these homeowners are frustrated, but I think it's not fair to say that this board is not paying attention and we're not doing our job. We're doing everything we can within the law. I know you'd like us just to throw these people out, but we can't. We have to follow the law. And it's not only Michigan law, but it's federal law. And we can't rewrite the law, so we're doing what we can. And to hold Kathy responsible, I didn't much care for that comment. Not at all. She asked for a single point of contact just to make, wasn't to avoid receiving emails from people. It was to make sure that things weren't overlooked or I guess just to make sure things weren't overlooked. And I thought that comment was unfair.
So I guess I have a question on the moratorium. When will the township attorney look at this for revisions? He hasn't looked at it yet.
The township attorney is on a 2-week vacation. I thought it was just last week.
Okay.
But I was able to speak with him this morning, so we kind of discussed the points a little bit.
Okay.
But I pretty much wrote this. So what will happen is it will go to him next week. And then if he sees something that he thinks is way off, he can go ahead and amend it that way.
Okay, but will you send us a copy of it so we have
After he's done looking at it.
After he's done looking at it? And then it will go into effect then, and then it says that it will stay into effect until ordinances are put into place.
Actually, I think it will go into effect the way it is.
Right.
And then if it gets revised, it'll still be in effect.
Okay, and then it will, so it's gonna go into effect now, and then
If we vote to.
If we, right, sorry. If we vote yes for it to go through, it will go into effect now. If he has any revisions, those revisions go into effect when he revises it for us. And then it stays in effect until we get the ordinances passed, and that's through like first reading, second reading,
Right,
and until
and-
they go into effect, because there's a time after second reading until they go into effect.
Yes, and the date that I received from the building department is October 8th is the tentative date that they should be in effect.
If everything's passed and it
everything
goes
goes
through. Okay, I was just kind of trying to figure out dates. And so August 28th is still the meeting, and what time is that meeting at for the planning commission?
They're always at 7 o'clock.
Okay, I had someone ask me in an email, and
That's a Tuesday.
is it 7 or 7:30?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, okay. I had someone from Sleepy Hollow ask me, and I couldn't answer that question. I think I told them, I think it's 7, but it's not posted yet. So that way now, I know they're here with whoever it was who asked me, I couldn't remember.
Dana, I believe out in the marquee on the front of our building is the zoning calendar for the year and the planning calendar. They're always posted there.
Right.
Just so you know.
I was at home though.
No,
There's
that's
a
fine.
drive up here. I did look on the website, but, okay, and then, that was it. I mean, I'm fine with it, so I just wanted a couple questions.
Okay, I just wanted to say a couple of things. It would be helpful to have a point of contact. I don't care who the point of contact is. If all of the residents at Sleepy Hollow, at Lake Lane, and everyone that seems to be on this group email wants to get together and I don't care who you decide for point of contact, but it would be helpful if I'm responding to one person instead of each individual one, because I get an email and then another email supporting an email, and it just gets kind of confusing, and like Scott said, I don't wanna overlook anything. But I think I spent 4 to 5 hours last Friday just responding to these emails, so it gets a little overwhelming. I'm back to work, just not full days yet, so I'm trying to do as best I can. The other thing I wanted to point out is I did talk to the township attorney regarding the moratorium, asking if we, well, I told him we had, well, I sent the second request on to him saying this was the second request for a moratorium, and I said, since the state regulates them, would we be able to legally stop any adult foster care homes from coming here? And he said, you can pass a moratorium, however, I do not believe it will be binding against the state licensing agency. So I think this will show that we're serious about what we're doing, and I believe that what we should do after, if we do decide to pass this, is send it on to the state, to Lara, to let them know our position, so that, because they are the ones that regulate the small group homes and family group homes, and the large group homes need special use. So we want to keep them where they require special use, and I'm conversing with the township attorney on what kind of parameters we can set for special use on the larger homes too.
And I know Evan, you've seen the emails,
Yeah.
Evan is with Variety's office, and I had contacted him regarding the complaint that the investigation report back from Kathy questioning about the law, and so Evan's been looking into some stuff with ordinances and stuff too for us, but I definitely wanted to say that too with Scott, is this has been, since you guys came to us and told us what happened in May, I have spent days and days and days, and I don't mind because I do think it's one of the most important topics in our community right now, and it is not good, and I want to help get this fixed. And so I have been making this one of my top priorities in my life too.
And I think the whole board understands the seriousness of this, and I think the whole board wants to support what we can do, but I mean, they're regulated by the state, and there's only certain things we can do, and we're gonna try what we can, and hopefully this moratorium will help.
We do not know there's even a AFC going in our community until we get a legal document saying it was already placed. We're not ever asked, do you want a home? This is coming in. We just get notification it happened after the fact, which is sad. I feel bad for every community that has to deal with this.
And if there's anyone here that doesn't know already, the sex offenders were removed from the home, and that happened within a 2-week period. And as far as government, the workings of government, 2 weeks is a very short time. And so we really need to thank Representative Riley and Senator Robertson, because they worked very hard for us to get that to happen. And so to have them move out that quickly, I think is a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that we're done. Obviously, we have to keep moving forward. Yes.
I'd just like to say, I agree 100% with Scott and Dana, especially with Scott, Dana, and Bob, and all the time they put in on this issue. Yeoman's effort, and I'm going to reiterate this again. This is not just a board issue. This is everyone that lives in Brandon Township's issue, and you guys have elected representatives that you can contact on a daily basis if you want, via email, via texting, via whatever you want. But I need to make this like really clear. We need everyone's help on this issue. We do. We need all your help. You know, I can't. I'm one citizen. Even though I'm a trustee, they don't. You know, Riley and Robertson, You know, it's like, yeah, you're a trustee, good for you, but the bottom line is, the more people they hear from, the more they get hammered, you know, that's what they need. And that's what we need from you folks, okay? I mean, I really want to bring that point to the highest level. Thank you.
And just to add to that, I know that a lot of you have been working very hard on this and have been doing a lot of investigative work, and you've been sharing that with us, and we appreciate that so much. We really do.
Yeah, we do. No doubt about it. Excellent graphs, excellent charts, excellent facts. Excellent information.
But counter to that, I haven't heard one person or on the recommendation of an attorney say anything that we haven't done that we should be doing. And that's what I want to make clear. If people have spoken to attorneys or an attorney and they have a better idea, bring it to me, but I haven't seen it yet because we haven't followed the law.
And speaking about attorneys, a lot of times I might be slow in responding because I am giving
Right.
our attorney information. And sometimes it doesn't happen really quick.
And we have never dealt with this type of issue before, and it's not really the AFC that we have an issue with, it's the issue of the parolees from the Department of Corrections, and that's where, if you haven't been following this, it's the definition in the law of these different laws that, when Kathy was reading the moratorium, that we're interpreting one way, and Laura and the Department of Corrections are interpreting another way, and then even in their response to us in the complaint that we made, it seemed like they were contradicting themselves and agreeing with us in a way, but we're still waiting on that, and Riley's office didn't give me an answer on it, but I still just, I don't accept it, and we even had Riley's office write a letter to the Attorney General, but we didn't get an answer back, so I'm not gonna sit on that either, because this is really a whole township issue, and it goes past our township too, actually, becomes a whole state issue of what they're doing in other places.
Federal.
Yes.
United States.
Okay, any more discussion on this? Okay, I have a motion by trustee Bratton and it is seconded by trustee DePalma to approve the resolution for an adult foster care facility moratorium as presented, subject to the township attorney revisions. Okay. And let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Sternall?
Yes.
DePalma?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Okay, next on our agenda is the special assessment district administrative fee for Lake Louise. Okay, the Lake Louise Improvement Board met July 31st, 2018 for a public hearing and confirmation of a new 5-year special assessment for nuisance aquatic plant control. During the public hearing, many of the residents spoke in opposition to the 7% administrative fee that Brandon Township was planning to charge. This will be the first time the township will be assessing an administrative fee to administer the Lake Louise special assessment. The residents feel their lake is an asset to the township and would like the fee to be lowered or omitted. They would also like an explanation of what the fee would be paying for. And so I think I've got to turn it over to the township treasurer. She came up with a breakdown. So I'll let you go ahead and go over that.
Well, plus the fact that this might be a new 7% admin fee for the Lake Louise people, but it has been ongoing through the township for all the other specials for quite some time. It's in our special assessment district policy. So we started going through all of the different departments and people that had their hands into any special, because they're all the same. And we do the same work for all of our specials. So the treasurer's office creates a special assessment roll list. We do a bi-weekly disbursement of, to the banks and for bills. We do delinquent disbursements to the bank accounts. We settle to the state of Michigan and to Oakland County on your behalf because it's your money. The deputy treasurer and assistant treasurers write the checks to the accounts payable for the bills coming in. They make the bank deposits, the transfers, and balance the monthly bank statements, and update spreadsheets, because the treasurer's office has to balance at least three ways. We generally try to do 4 ways. It's not our money. We want no murky water anywhere. Excuse the pun. The township auditor does the SAD collection. Well, he audits the SAD collections through the taxes. He audits the amounts dispersed through the tax system. Oakland County has to okay the special assessment rolls and the parcel ID numbers. Oakland County has to verify the accounts collected by the treasurer's office, the amounts dispersed by the treasurer's office, and they disperse the delinquent tax amounts to the township, and then we disperse it to the special. The clerk's office has to verify and or correct the language for the SAD contract. The human resource has to review all publications to be printed in the newspapers. The bookkeeper has to receive all the bills, create accounts payable reports for the treasurer's office, balance to the treasurer's office, print the checks for the payments of the bills, create account payable spreadsheets to balance between the treasurer's office and the auditor. The supervisor's office has to be in touch with the township attorney to create the original SAD contract language. The deputy supervisor has to make any combinations, splits, name changes, etc. per parcel in each SAD. And the assessor's office, he has to do the owner verification, the district verification, and provide the value per parcel. The approximate man hours involved for Lake Louise SADs are over 100 hours. Trust me, if you guys want to do it, bless you. The total salary involved is approximately $3,800, which is more than what we're charging you. The cost for Lake Louise per 1,000 compared to other SADs in the township, LaGault is 58 cents per 1,000, Lake Louise is 47 cents per 1,000, Seymour Lake is 30 cents per 1,000, Shelmar Lane is 88 cents per 1,000, and Upper Bushman is $1.43 per 1,000 of your SAD. It takes a lot of time and effort, you guys. If you want to help, it'd be awesome.
Is anybody gonna make the motion here?
What is it?
Well, that's my point.
Well, I have a couple questions. How long has our administrative fee been in place?
4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years.
So-
My question is 7% too much overall?
Well, that was one of my questions I was gonna get to. So if it's been in place for 4 or 5 years, we haven't charged it to
That is
Lake
correct.
Louise before? And why
Their
is that?
contract came up,
Okay.
the language wasn't in it. They came saying, whoops, and it's too late. If you sign a contract and that is not in black and white,
So how long is their SAD contract for?
this new one is 5 years.
So it's a 5-year contract?
Correct.
So it's $3,000. Do you have to do new stuff for it every year?
Yes,
Every
ma'am.
year you have to redo,
Yes.
because every year you have to bill it out.
Correct.
So it's you said it's $3,100, but that's for a 5-year, correct? Is what it comes out to be?
No, it's 7% per year.
Oh, it's 7% per year, gotcha.
Yes,
Okay.
all of them.
But it's a new contract, and so, that's why it hasn't come into place. Now,
Correct.
what do other townships charge, what percentages do they charge? Have you ever looked into that? Well, that's not a percentage, that's a flat rate, and that's not telling me what townships you, I don't know where you got that information from. Give me township.
I appreciate seeing that, but the only thing that jumped out at me is as when you're bringing a presentation to us, it's easy to cherry pick which ones you want to show us. I mean, did you exclude some that were higher that we aren't seeing?
And what years was those rates, and what are they? So I guess that's my question, is what do other townships do with their state percentage? Did we look into that when we came
Am
up
I
with that
under the
percentage?
correct understanding that those are 2 different entities? So it's not like across the board averaging or anything?
No, it's 2 individual.
But the question is how many parcels do they have that they're doing it by? Because if it's $6 and they have 2,000 parcels, $6 times 2,000 parcels, that's a lot more money than, so.
They were in the 80s, it said
It's all
80.
documented.
Well, you just gave this to me today, I didn't get a chance to look at it ahead of time. So,
Maybe what we should do is take a look at what other.
pardon me?
1,500 is over 200 parcels. 675 is over 89 parcels.
And they do manage to
For identical services,
Application.
providing costs.
communicate with the applicant and everything else, which we do on our part.
I'll say this, if we decide that it's too high, we have to reduce it across the board.
Yeah.
And this has been the fee that we've been charging for how long now?
5 years.
Okay, so I just want to make it clear, we can't treat one special
Right, that's
assessment
my
district
problem.
different than the others.
Right, you have to treat them all the same.
The other communities.
I don't want to do that here.
I don't want to play special, Lake Louise gets this rate, and Bald Eagle Lake, if they have a SAD, gets this lake, and if a road has a SAD because they need paving or anything like that, I'm not gonna treat different SADs different, that's not fair to the residents. I mean, you have to treat you guys all the same.
And it's not fair to the treasurer's office or any of the other offices, because we do the same amount of work for all of them.
I do a lot of work. I don't get paid for anything, I don't get paid for all that extra stuff I do, I only get paid when I come in here. All that other stuff I've done, I don't get paid for either, so, and I do it for the township.
Well, and the question is, we're doing this, that's part of our job as well.
Right, and it's part of my job when I do the extra stuff outside, knowing when I ran, I was only getting paid per meeting, not if I did work outside of my meeting.
But I would suggest that we take a look at what everybody else is charging and then bring this back.
That would be fair.
That would be fair, I don't want to.
Because it doesn't do anything until the winter bill, so as long as we get this in place by November.
But then the staff contracts that are already in place, they're already in place, so they stay, and then when their new one comes up, their fee would go down, correct? Or can you change it in the
I
on the
don't know,
contract?
again, I don't.
I think
Is
it'd
that-
be easier when they renew to.
When they renew,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see what other townships do their staff. I thought we would have done that when we placed it in the 7% into place. but I can't recall.
And my memory going back 5 years, I think we're a little on the high side compared to others, because I think we did look at something that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But that doesn't mean that we're going to be cutting this in half. But I think it's fair, I would make a motion to table this or postpone it until we can take a look at what similar townships are doing in the area, regardless of the project, whether it's road or
And
lake.
it's a special assessment.
Right, it's a special
District.
assessment.
Right.
I'll support Scott's motion.
Okay, my question is, who would like to do the research?
It's tax season, people.
I'll do it.
Okay, would someone like to help Katie?
Oh.
Mr. Spiz, our Oakland County Commissioner volunteered.
If I'm allowed.
Chris, you want to help? Okay.
Will Dwight be kept in the loop with all this while this is going on? Will he be part of the?
Well,
After we
we're
compile all
gonna
the
have to
information.
compile it, and then we will be bringing this back to hopefully our next meeting.
And we'll
Want to
let,
hear any of his input while we're going
If he,
through
well,
this?
he can help us, he can let us know where
We
he
have
got
more
this
information
information from.
Yeah,
And he
he's done
can-
a lot of
sure.
research already.
I was kind of curious why it had to be so anonymous. Why didn't you tell us exactly what these two
yeah,
townships
that was
were?
my
I
problem.
didn't feel it was fair in a public forum to
Oh.
identify those, and I'll be glad.
Public
to do
knowledge.
that.
Go ahead,
Right.
go ahead, yeah. Public knowledge.
That's fine. I'll be glad to share it with you guys.
So your motion, Scott, is to postpone until we have
Further information.
further information. Okay, I have a motion by trustee Bratton, and it is seconded by clerk Allen to postpone this motion until we have further information. And is that what you're seconding on?
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. So we'll be bringing this back. Next on our agenda is the part-time clerical position in the building department. Last November 6, 2017, a motion was approved by the Township Board to hire a part-time building clerk in response to the part-time cross-training of Brenda Catterat into the assessing department. Stacy Lawrence was hired as a temporary fill-in position and has been training with Brenda to fill this position. We feel she is knowledgeable and would be a good fit for this position. So the building department would like to see Stacy Lawrence as a permanent part-time employee.
Okay, I'll make that motion to hire Stacy Lawrence as a permanent part-time employee effective August 14th, 2018 for up to an average of 24 hours per week at the starting hourly pay rate of $13.06 per hour policy and paid from the 2018 budget line item 101-380-702-380.
Second.
Okay, is Stacy still here? So you can all leave Stacy. This is Stacy over here, so she could be introduced.
Thank you.
I second,
All right, I have a motion by trustee DePalma, and it is seconded by trustee Broughton to hire Stacy Lawrence as a permanent part-time employee effective August 14, 2018 for up to an average of 24 hours per week at the starting hourly pay rate of $13.06 per hour policy and paid from the 2018 budget line 101-380-702-380. Okay, is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Allen? Yes. Broughton?
Yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Hey Stacy, you don't have to stay either, you can go.
Yeah, we discussed that before the meeting.
You gotta be the one tomorrow.
I won't.
Okay, next is offer to purchase township-owned property. So we have a vacant lot on Dunwoody Street, which is parcel ID number 0330104008. This lot was forfeited to Oakland County Treasurer for non-payment of taxes. The county deeded the property to Brandon Township in November of 2012. Brandon Township's assessor, Bill Thompson, has reviewed sales from the past 2 years of area lake lots. Lots that have limited lake and road access that sold for between $1,000 to $2,000. The subject lot has good canal access to the lake and paved road access. There is attached, shows a diagram of the lot in red. That's your last page. But it's got a limited and perhaps questionable building envelope, meaning that you would probably not be able to build on this.
Is there a lot, the one right next to it?
The in red.
No, the people who are purchasing
Yes,
it.
I believe they're next to it.
So they're just trying to increase.
So it's been sitting since 2012 at least, yes. So it's not like
It's been ours since
okay, so if nobody else has made an offer, I will make the motion.
Well, just go over the offer. They're offering
I
us
saw it.
$800.
I know, I saw.
Okay.
I just thought to get a discussion
More
going, if you want a
discussion.
motion.
Can we do just a little bit more discussion?
Okay.
Then we can vote.
I got a couple questions. Is this property is this swamp or what? What is it?
The building envelope is questionable, meaning it's probably wet. Now, I don't believe the whole thing is swamp. I'm sure there's usable land there,
Okay,
but
so it's kind of wet, it's kind of swampy, it's kind of,
yeah, because it's got canal access.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, okay, because I'm like looking at this and thinking to myself, it's like, you know, for $2,000, if I could get lake access for $2,000 and move my motorhome there every now and then and
put my vote out there, that's a pretty good deal.
Chris, I agree with that too, that's what I thought, but when you read this, it's been sitting since 2012, so nobody else thought that.
Yeah.
If this was brand new.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, if this was brand new, I would agree that we'd need the price a little bit more, but this counter is fair enough, it's been sitting for 6 years.
Yep.
Nobody else wanted it, it's kind of your.
Well, do you know what they might want to, is it for sure the people who own property next door?
I'm probably 80% yes.
Okay, well,
But
because you can look up who
my
lives
staff
next door.
brought this to me.
So I'm saying you can easily look up who lives next door, looking at the tax roll.
Does it give the?
It gives the
ID?
homeowner right here, and then we have the ID right here. So if you look at that ID, who owns that ID, you can see. I guess my question is, what were they doing with it? Were they looking to,
I think they just wanted to combine it.
were they then gonna try to do an outbuilding or something on it, or anything on it?
You know, sometimes when these kind of lots come up, people want to buy it just to avoid having somebody else do anything with it.
Or were they gonna try to sell it? I'm just trying to figure out, because I don't wanna sell it so cheap if they're gonna turn around and try to sell it for more.
Yeah, it's been sitting for 6 years.
I understand that, but,
Taxes on it.
huh?
We would get some tax money off of it.
We would, but it says that the fair market value of the property is $4,500 and they're offering $800 on $4,500. I mean, that's.
But we're countering.
Well, yeah, my counter offer that I'm suggesting is $1,500 because it said that lots that have limited lake and road access have sold between 1,000 and 2,000, so I just said, let's counter it.
But this one has good access. So this says the lot has good canal access to the lake and paved road access. So it has good both accesses. So that's 33% of what the value is.
I think if we counter too high, we won't. They'll just walk away.
Right, I understand.
And they'll still use the property because it's
Because
right
they're
there.
higher. Well, that's why I wanted to find out if it's them or not.
It is next door. But this was brought to me, so I wasn't talking to them directly.
Well, you just said you think it's next door.
Yeah, well, because that's what my office has told me, and that's what I believe it to be. But I didn't talk to them directly.
Can I make my motion now?
Is Mark or Carol in the audience this evening?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Could you step up to the
There you
podium,
go.
please?
There you go.
I
was thinking you'd be here.
Mark Hundrick, we live right next door.
Okay.
We wanted to just enhance the property to make it look better and get the mosquitoes down. That's it. We're not gonna build, we're not gonna sell, nothing like that.
Is it marshy?
There, now you can ask all your questions and get the answers.
Yes, you can. There's nothing you can do with it. I mean, it's just, I just want to clear, get the mosquitoes down.
That's what I thought.
I was just worried someone was trying to make a
You
big
can step up
profit,
to
you
the
know, make
podium.
a profit.
Yeah.
Could you step up here too, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
I figured you guys were here, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, it's not really that wide even.
No. Yeah.
And there is no access to the lake. The canal is this deep. I don't know how you can walk through it, I guess. I thought John would walk through it.
So no
But
one.
just go use the launch.
I'll make a motion to refuse the offer to purchase vacant lot 0330104008 for $800 from Mark and Carol Hundrick, and counter offer to sell the vacant lot 0330104008 for $1,500, $1,500 to Mark and Carol Hundrick.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Is that gonna be way out of line for you?
Well, we discuss it now.
Now you have to discuss it, and then you guys.
Yeah, that's a bit high because it's just a little, nothing piece of property. We just want to.
Just look at the mosquitoes now.
Yeah.
We sit out there.
We sit and face it. It's adjacent on the water side.
Thank you. All right, yes, thank you very much. So I have a motion by trustee Bratton, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to to refuse the offer to purchase vacant lot 0330-104-008 for $800 from Mark and Carol Kundrick, and to counter offer to sell vacant lot 0330-104-008 for $1,500 to Mark and Carol Kundrick. Okay. And is there any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Groton.
Yes.
Sternal.
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Allen.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Does our office have your phone number?
I think it's on the application.
Oh, it's on the application? Okay, I'll have our office contact you.
No, it wasn't on, it's not on the one we have, but I'm sure you have this one next.
Could we get your phone number after the meeting? Thank you. Okay, next we have the welcome wagon participation, and that's being presented by trustee DePalma.
So at the end of the school year, Dr. Outlaw had reached out to the, I was gonna call us residents, but the parents and the people of our district, and asked if anybody wanted to help with the welcome wagon. And what it is they get updates every month of people who moved into the township. And it's through a group called Welcome Wagon. And so his idea was to then take those, and even if you have kids in the district or if you don't have kids in the district, to send out information to them about the district. And what he wanted to do was to see if the township, I had said to him, hey, I think that's a great idea. He reached out to everybody who gets their e-blasts from the school district. And then I said, maybe we can partner with the township, and I can bring it to the township to see if the township wants to provide it. And he thought that was a great idea. So what the school district's gonna do is it's gonna be a one piece of paper, and it's gonna have whatever they wanna put about each school and what the district offers. So what he suggested is that we could do one sheet of paper, and I'm like, well, that's great, if that's all we have to provide to him is the one sheet of paper. We don't, no cost to us, so we could have a section on the clerk's office, contact, you know, what do you do to get, you know, voter, treasurer's office, when tax bills are due, when they're mailed, you know, dog licensing, building department, parks and recs department, senior center, anything that we wanna do. He's gonna go to Groveland, he's gonna go to the village also. So then what it would be is when someone moves in, he'll send them maybe a postcard or a letter saying, welcome to the community, look for someone stopping by with a packet for you. And it'd be like in a folder or like a spiral little notebook with any of the people who want to. So if the library wants to provide something, that type of stuff. And then if they get the postcard and they don't want to have it, they have a way of emailing and say, please don't have someone stop by my house. If they want to and they don't respond, then someone would stop by, hand them a packet, just introduce themselves, and maybe hand them some fresh baked cookies or something. Just welcoming someone to the neighborhood and have something. We could put all our Facebook links on there. We could put links for the phone book so they can get onto our e-blast and stuff like that we do out of town. So it was just an informational piece of paper that all we really have to do is print a copy, and then whenever we want to update it, is we can change his email address or phone number.
Are we limited to just one piece of paper?
We could probably do more if we wanted to.
Well, I mean, we put out a newsletter every year. Some things that are maybe a little bit more current, we had bug spray.
Well, you could change, you could put the, right, everything that we schedule in here, I mean.
Well, I mean, there's some things that change year to year that would be on the newsletter, whereas you're talking about something that's kind of permanent.
Right, but we can make changes to it though and stuff too, and if we had more pages, he said we could do that too. He was just saying he's just gonna, because at first, we were thinking of making it big, we just met last week actually, and he was thinking, but then we started saying, well, too much is, you know, over, and people might not look at it, and so, and if your newsletter's already going out with the tax bills, if everybody's already getting
They're going
it.
out with the assessment notices, and they might be coming into the township after those go out, so they might not.
Yeah, but whatever we want, I mean, they're gonna do it on a monthly, so like, it's August now, they're getting the July people who moved in, and then September, they'll get the August people, so you'll be like working like a month behind, basically. So it's a monthly thing that would start to happen, and we're hoping to start in the fall. So I was just bringing it to you guys to see if you guys guys wanted to participate in it, and, once they get, you know, once they some of the makeup, whatever we wanna put on our flyer, and if we wanna put more stuff in, we just have to provide it, that's what it costs us is to provide the stuff to the district.
Well, we've already got extra copies of like the newsletter.
Right.
At our office, so that would be cool.
Right,
And if we did the thing that was permanent, just had that ready, that would be fine too.
Right, like the permanent things go in there. If he does like a folder, like you can have the permanent thing with the current newsletter itself, or, you know, if we can see if there's more room for rec, we can do a current thing, or senior center can have something. So, yeah, well.
No, I think it's a good idea, David.
So I was just looking to see if, because I talked to you and you said we should talk to the whole board, so that's what I'm trying to see if everybody wants, thinks we should participate in it.
Is there any discussion? Would someone like to make the motion? Dana, do you want to
I'll make the motion to participate, sure.
I'll second.
I have a motion by trustee Palma and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to participate with the school district's welcome wagon. Is there any more discussion? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously, so we will be participating. So we'll have to,
Figure out who's gonna make the flyer.
yeah. And maybe you can oversee that, maybe get information.
Yeah.
And I can read newsletters.
Yeah, he's gonna start making theirs.
You'll be our liaison.
Okay, that works.
Okay, next on the agenda is item F, Bald Eagle Lake Marine Patrol contract. The Bald Eagle Lake Property Association would like to hire marine patrol services from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. The Oakland County Sheriff's will not contract directly with the Lake Property Association. LPOA, which is the Lake Property Association, would like to have a contract with the township, and the township would have to contract with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office to facilitate marine patrol services for Bald Eagle Lake. So what we're looking to do right now is to enter into a contract just for the term of August 14th, which is tomorrow, through September 30th. The bookkeeper came into my office today and she said that if we wanted to do this on a regular basis, it would be better if we set it up as a special assessment district.
Agreed.
I
It's the
agree.
same issue.
Well, that's what I was just gonna
And-
ask,
and
we're
then-
paying for it.
But
we're
this
paying
short
it
term,
back.
this is one time thing.
This is just a short term.
Just for this, I'll make the motion to approve the
But,
Belcoa.
before you do that, because right here on the back, it says the township shall deduct an administrative fee of 0. So should we amend this to put our 7% in, since that's what our policy is currently?
But the 7%, if it's gonna be if it's gonna be a bond for 7 weeks, then no.
That's not.
Because I don't have to put anything on tax bills, it doesn't go through assessing, it doesn't.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, how is this working? So they already have an association, and the association's just gonna pay us, and
Yeah.
we're gonna pay
When the
the,
bills come in, we'll
so
take
we're
it out
not
of there.
putting anything
No.
on taxes.
We're just writing a check.
But they're only gonna give
Not
us
for this.
$3,000, and if the bills are more than $3,000, the township pays the balance. That's, the bookkeeper had a conversation with me as well.
Well,
Really?
yeah,
I
I
don't see
consider
that on
that,
here.
this says they're gonna give us $500 increment.
Additional marine patrol services may be arranged upon the terms and conditions set forth in contract between the township and the county upon advance payment by the association to the township at $500 increments. So that means once the Oakland County has worked $3,000 and we've paid $3,000, they won't be able to do any more until we get 500 more from the association to be able to.
And Lieutenant Glover, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you saying that it would be, if they went over $3,000, was probably not?
Well, this year, I already gave them what the set fee was for the rest of the boating season this year, which is way less than that. The only thing that would change is if on the holiday, if they want an extra patrol, because on the holiday, because of how many people on the lake, we require 2 deputies to be in that boat. So there would be an increase there if they decide to do that, but they have more than enough with that $3,000 to cover this year.
Okay, well, I have a couple of questions too when I was looking at this agreement. It says that the association is gonna put the $3,000 in, terms and conditions set forth in the contract between the county and the township. I haven't seen any of that.
That contract is being drafted as we speak, because they have to take that to the Board of Commissioners, I believe in January. The department went ahead and agreed to build that, because it's a safety issue on the lake. It didn't require them to have the money immediately to start that patrol. But that contract, it's the same with the township's contracts. At the first of the year, there's several lakes that their contracts are up, and they're gonna take all of those contracts at one time to the Board of Commissioners, I believe.
And then it says it shall notify the township designated representative at least once a week in advance of the dates of and times of service. Do we have that designated representative?
That's not gonna happen, because for one, I do not want those times out as far as for every day of what time our boat's gonna be on the lake. That's something that's gonna be between me and the Marine Division.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
Right, so we're not gonna do that. That's gonna be something that's determined between the Marine Division and myself.
No, it says the association shall determine the dates and
Sure.
times that marine patrol services are required and shall notify the township's designated
Representative.
But it says the association is gonna determine the dates and times. I mean, we have a lake up north. If they ever told me what days and times they're gonna be out there, I mean, they never tell us when they're gonna be out there.
So should we strike out number 4?
There are, the patrol
That's
is,
what I'm saying, the whole
I mean,
agreement is
and
kind of.
well, we can strike that out.
I don't think you should be telling them when you're gonna be out there.
that's not gonna happen.
Right.
Strike out number 4.
Okay. And then upon the terms and conditions set forth between the contract between the township and the county, again, we don't have it, upon advance payment by the association in $500 increments. Who is that gonna come to? Me?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna have a bond, and then it's just gonna be put in a trust?
You already said it wasn't gonna happen unless you do
I thought it said it already was.
No,
This is, chances are,
there is no way that it's gonna go over what that fee is.
But he is gonna start.
Right, but only, he said you don't have to worry about these $500 increments. They're not going to go over the 3,000.
This agreement is just for the next month and a half, and then it's done.
Correct.
We're done with this.
All right.
What about next year?
Well, there is talk about
That's a
next year, but
different
that's
cost.
totally up to that lake association, whether or not they want to continue with that contract. Now, I did give them what the cost would be for next year as well, for the entire boating season, but again, that's up to the lake association to determine.
and at that time, we'll decide if we want to do a special assessment district or not. And I've talked to Lieutenant Glover to find out what other townships are doing this, so I can contact them and ask them how they're collecting.
We have,
Because if they have a lake association, you might not have to do it as bad, and it won't be as much work.
we have
Then we
18
don't have to worry about it.
separate lakes that we have contracts on, where those are routine patrols with 18 lakes in the county. I mean, because every one of those contracts goes through the local municipality, because the county does not accept that lake association as an entity.
Right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of lakes, I'm sure.
I have one more thing. It says any funds remaining on deposit with the township following termination of this agreement will be returned to the association within 45 days. I gotta know who to make the check out to also.
She's right here.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not the lake association, it's a whatever designation. Do you have an association checking account?
Yes.
So that's the name that's on the checking account,
Right.
is who it has
If
to
they
go.
have an association and they're collecting funds, they should have their own bank account. It should never be in someone's personal name.
I know.
We do,
So you can make it out to the
Right, we do have that established. And this contract, we took from an existing contract and just tried to change it to fit us.
Right.
And I provided them with a couple of sample contracts that we have with our other lakes.
So I guess, yeah, we're gonna change the agreement. I mean, are you guys okay with
I represent the Lake Owners Association. We would like to remove number 4. Would you have a problem with that?
No, we don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay.
I would like to point out a typographical error. Our PO box is 275, not 271.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
Up at the top.
275.
2759.
275.
Just 275.
So the zip code should be 44620-275. It's got a 9 at the end.
Right.
It showed it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what I was-
No, it's okay. So you're thinking of doing this every year?
Well, we'd like to know what the process is for the next year. The safety issue is so bad, that's why we contacted Lieutenant Glover. People don't have an idea of what marine safety is. All of these, there's been more than one jet ski accident. We have jet skis out there with children not wearing preservers. A lot of that action seems to happen at the south end of the lake, which 2 of us are here for. 2 of us that are on the board live at that end, so we see it all. And it's dangerous. We're afraid to go out on our own boats. And just like some of the other associations have talked about, some of us are ready to leave. It's just not, it's not safe.
I can tell you that I've been privy to a couple of emails that went back and forth, and I can tell you from my experience of driving around the lake in the last 2 weeks, I've had a lot more positive feedback about that boat being out there than the 3 or 4 negative comments that we've had. Most of the people out there, especially the people that live there for a while, are happy that we're out there on that lake. There's been comments about, hey, we'll police our own lake. Well, I'd like to see anybody that polices their own situation today, and what type of feedback you're going to get from the person that's disregarding the safety of everybody else when you try to tell them what to do. It doesn't work, and it certainly isn't going to work out on a lake where there's alcohol involved.
Have you talked to the families when there are kids on about the voter safety classes that are available, and are there any available around?
The Marine Division handles all of that with those contacts. I'm not out there personally.
Right.
Like I said,
I think that's getting the public to know that, because I know there's, the voter safety classes and getting kids to
The
realize they can't
association
go out.
has tried to do that as well. And what happens is, we get profanities yelled at us for suggesting that. And so,
I don't believe people don't know that it's required. I believe they're just.
Well, the age has gone up so high though, I mean, almost anybody in their under 40.
Anybody that has a boat knows these rules.
Scott?
No, they don't.
Just a quick comment, every
They're
spring
choosing to ignore them.
every spring in our newsletter, we publish when and where you can take
Right.
these safety classes. We publish all the rules of boating. The fact that people don't read it is another
Right.
issue, but we certainly do our best to make it available to them.
Thank you.
Scott, and I can tell you, from that comment, we have many lakes that are boats on. And we put jump boats on most of the lakes when there's a situation, as long as we have access to the lake. The marine safety is definitely an issue. And people are mistaken, they think that because it's a private lake, we can police it ourselves and we'll handle all our own things. Well, I can tell you that probably 50% of the boats on that lake are not even properly registered. So there's an issue across the board, and the same residents are the same people that are allowing people to access their property, whether it's friends and family or relatives, and they're the same people that are allowing those kids to run around those jet skis like the accident that we had without life jackets.
Well, and I know that the age has gone up because we have boats and stuff like that up in their place, and people just think because you can drive a jet ski, and you can't. And now the age for boating is like anybody under 40 almost, I think, has to have a voter safety certificate.
Our issues, there is a select group of people on that lake that disregard the safety of what's going on. It's not every homeowner out there. And often it's people that homeowners allow to access the lake that don't even live there that are some of the issues. We don't have an everyday issue on that lake, but we have issues there. And like I said, the one accident that we had involving those 3 young girls, they didn't have life jackets on.
Lieutenant Glover, you said that you had been discussing the cost for a full year.
We did.
And my question is, does VACOA have enough funds to cover that amount?
yes.
So
The amount that we're depositing is double what we need for this season. Make sure that we could cover everything.
Okay. Just because I guess what I'd like to know from Balboa is you would prefer that Balboa pay for this and not do a special assessment where we actually tax the lake owners?
The association agreed to pay for this
For
period
this
of time.
section, this part I understand. I'm just saying going
For next
forward
year?
for next year.
I think that might be a hard sell. Just to raise people's taxes.
What percentage of people?
But Balboa does have enough funds to do a full year?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
I spoke to the Lake Association president this week and said that there were more than enough. I mean, the fee for next year is gonna be a little over $4,000 if they elect to go that way. He said they have more than enough money to cover that cost. And I know for a fact that this year for the cost, just through the rest of the voting season, that 3,000 was talked about is more than enough to fulfill this year's contract.
I'm not against it at all. I'm just worried if we do this for you guys, we're gonna set a precedence that you're not a SAD and you really should be a SAD. That's my worry.
I don't think so, because they're giving us the money up front. It's just like any other trust. Building a trust or bond.
I think what she's saying is she would prefer having input from all the lake owners as opposed to the Lake Owners Association. You're looking at it from a financial perspective. She's looking at it from a use perspective. That's all.
So we're just
Where does
providing.
your funding
safe-
come from? Do all the residents help pay?
We have a annual fee for membership and then a separate fee for the boat ramp. So if they have a boat and they want to launch, they pay a little bit extra.
And everybody's involved with it? I mean, if someone moves in and
It's
says, I'm not
volunteer.
paying it,
They
it's
don't
all
have to,
volunteer.
right. They
So-
don't have to.
So what percentage of your lake owners participate in Balboa?
I don't know, 60, 70%?
Okay, so quite a bit.
So we're providing, it's not like we're trying, okay, so here's my thing of not being against it, is it's not like we're saying you have to pave your road. This is providing safety for the lake, that's providing safety for the residents and for people who come out to that lake, because it's not a private lake, correct?
It is.
Oh, it is a private lake, okay.
I'm bewildered by why there's so much pushback on this. All we're doing
Yeah,
is
we're
asking us
just
to write a
providing,
check.
we're providing.
Can I make the motion at least
And I'm
to
sorry, I was
approve the
talking.
Balboa
I know,
agreement for
yes,
marine
Scott.
patrol services from 8/14/18 to 9/30/18 as presented if approved by the township attorney and contract with the OCSO for marine patrol services accordingly. Now that the motion is made, you guys can continue your conversation.
Can we get a second first?
Second.
Okay,
Madam
Cordell.
Supervisor, should it be as amended?
Yes.
Yeah.
Regarding number 4,
Oh, yes, it should be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Should approve the Balboa agreement as amended. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Dana.
That's okay, I was speaking. I was just trying to say that I don't think it's the same as a SAD of saying that we have to, for the people who want to pave a road or who want to clean up a lake. This is different. This is providing safety to the residents that is what they look upon us for. So I don't know if we need to have approval for the whole lake to say we're going to have a half out there. We don't have to have approval by the whole township that we're going to have police. You know, and we have police, I mean, it's the same thing, we're just putting them on the lake instead of just in the road.
Focus on the police village.
Well, yes, they do.
But I can comment to that too, for safety reasons.
Safety, yeah.
We can put a boat on any private lake, it doesn't matter whether that lake is a private lake or not.
Right, you guys can go out on any lakes, you guys just haven't.
And that's the misconception with Baldita Lake. There are a lot of people out there that don't think we can put a boat on that lake and enforce the state laws, and they're sadly mistaken. Because that's not the case.
I again am in total favor of this. I'm just worried we're gonna open a can of worms. It was a safety issue for Shelmar Lane, had to wait and get their SAD pass to put in a culvert. Their cars were going through deep ditches. I mean, it was a safety issue as well. And I'm not saying this is the same thing, but I'm just giving you my view.
But may I comment to that? The only issue here is that we're on a lake. Those vessels do not have brakes. We have people who have complete disregard for the law. people are passing at an inappropriate distance, they're passing on the wrong side, they're playing games with us, they're playing games with a member of the board because we have brought an issue forward. The people who are not following the law are not following the law. This is a huge issue. I can't tell you enough how much this is a huge issue. This is, if those jet skis go out of control, they're on our property in 2 seconds. And then they're gonna take out people along with them besides what they're doing on the lake. This is a critical issue.
Have the police been called when it happens?
Yes.
And can they do anything at that time?
I can tell you just since our boat has been on that lake, we've had issues. We've already had somebody that untied our boat, egged our boat, and verbally confronted one of the Lake Association board members. And we investigated that and ticketed that person with a misdemeanor crime for disorderly conduct on the water. And that's, like I said, it's a very select group of people on that lake that are so against this. And it's the ones that have something to not want us out there for. And we just dealt with one of those people this week.
Has it been like this for a long time, or did they just?
Over the last year, things started to change, and this year. And I will tell you that there's been threats to the board members, so us being here is a risk. I have people checking my boat when I'm not there daily.
To make sure.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Yeah.
What's the big deal there?
Lieutenant, I got a question for you. You said our boat, does the township have a boat?
Yeah, the sheriff department has, we have a very large marine division.
Well, I know you
we have a
Well,
boat.
what I'm saying is, when you say, you know, you're putting the boat in on a daily basis and you're pulling it out.
No.
Because you're on the dock.
No, we do
Oh,
have, we have a homeowner that has allowed us to dock our patrol boat on the lake.
Okay.
And that homeowner is the one that was verbally attacked at the end of their dock about the boat being.
Okay.
So,
So,
that's.
okay, so you got the boat, and you guys are the ones that patrol the lake.
Yes, prior to the department
Not
allowing
somebody
the
from
contract.
the Marine Division.
It is the Marine Division, it's our Marine Division that's patrolling the lake.
Okay.
And prior to this issue, we put a jump boat out there a couple times through their own ramp, but to set up a contract on the lake, we have to have a dock to permanently put that boat on the lake, and that's what we've done.
I know, I used to run solo.
Any other discussion by the board? Okay, we have a motion on the floor by trustee Broughton, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to approve the Valpoa agreement as amended for marine patrol services from 8/14/18 to 9/30/18 as amended. Okay, so the as amended goes down to here. If approved by the township attorney and contract with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office for marine patrol services accordingly. Okay, any further discussions? Roll call, please.
DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So, I don't know who sent us this, but can whoever sent this, can you call me tomorrow? And, because we'll have to make this amendment and resend it so I can send it on to the township. All right, thank you. And what is your name?
Donald? Jamaican
For you to say.
I can, I'll
All right.
write it down.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the cemetery tree bid.
Yep. Well, the bids went out in May, and as you can see, we have a very big
Response.
responded, and the difference, the highest is $67,000, the lowest is $9,675 to go through 6 cemeteries, remove trees that are dead, and also trim up trees for safety, not for glamour, not for anything else. So I'm not comfortable with that. There's too many variables. What I'd like to do is ask Mr. Bob Hoxwell, who owns a landscape tree company, who did not put in a bid, to go out, and I'd like to pay him to come back with what he feels is needed. What trees in each cemetery need to come down because they're dead, and the ones that need trimmed up. And then put this back out for bids. Because this is just way too far. I don't want to spend $10,000 and find out that we got only one cemetery actually done correctly, and that there's still safety issues.
So
would Mr. Huxwell be able to look at these bids and make a recommendation for us on what you think would be best?
Absolutely. He would go
Instead
through-
of sending it back out.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, we could do that as well.
Well, here's, if he's gonna do the work and we send it back out, then he's not really bid, is that correct?
He won't bid, he does not want to bid.
He doesn't wanna bid?
No.
Okay, so that's why you
He's
picked
just
him
not.
to,
Correct.
okay, and do you know what that cost would be to have him go out and look at all that?
I don't know an exact amount, but I would like to make the motion up to $1,000.
Okay.
To pay him up to $1,000
Do
to
you want
be
to go ahead and read this one?
Yes.
How would he even be able to determine just by looking at the prices, who was looking at what for each tree? So I would
Well,
think he need to go out and look at it.
He has gone out, he has trimmed trees for us 5 years ago.
Okay.
He's also the DPW worker, supervisor here for the village.
Gotcha.
I talked to 3 of the owners that gave bids, they all know him. And I asked, do you feel he'd give me a fair, honest answer, and they all agreed yes.
Okay.
So he's not looking to help anybody out, he's helping to look the township
Okay.
out.
Well, I have a few questions.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
So go ahead and read your motion how you wanted to.
Okay. I'd like to hire Bob Coxwell to review all 6 Brandon Township cemeteries and determine the scope of work needed at each one, and for the clerk to come back to the board with a recommendation and pay Bob up to $1,000.
Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll second.
And as an FYI, all the tree guys that I did speak with said a lot of the trees, especially oak trees, cannot be cut or touched till winter. January, February, so we're not too far behind on this, which I was glad to know.
Okay, any other discussion on this item? I have a motion by Clerk Allen and it is seconded by Treasurer Darnell to hire Bob Huxwell to review all 6 Brandon Township cemeteries and determine the scope of work needed at each one, and for the clerk to come back to the board with a recommendation and pay Bob up to $1,000. Should we say for this service?
Yes.
Okay, so you're both good with that, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall?
Yes.
DePalma?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. And that brings us to the Edna Burton Senior Center Drug and Alcohol Policy from Senior Center Coordinator Annette Beach. Is Annette here?
No, she's not
So
here.
you're gonna do this for her?
Yes, she has to have a drug and alcohol policy through SMART in order to keep our busing, the buses, and we actually get free buses from SMART. And, so they sent her this and asked her to have it board approved.
So she's asking for the adoption of the drug and alcohol policy as presented to be in compliance with SMART.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
That's what I figured, it came from Smart, so I figured it was okay, but I just wanted to ask.
Okay. So the way I've got the motion reading, by trustee DePalma, seconded by trustee Cordella, to adopt the drug and alcohol policy as presented to be in compliance with SMART. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. So that concludes our new business tonight. So at this time, we will take citizens' comments on any item. And I can't read my little thing. Same rules as I announced earlier.
Except for can be on anything else.
It can be on anything.
Dwight Woodbridge, 151 Harbor Point, Clarksville. I want to thank the board. First, I want to thank the board for tabling the Lake Louise status proposal. Per Scott's comment, we'll be glad to work with you guys to help research the data and get information. Second item on the Our Lake Association has brought in members to get a safety course during our annual meetings. That went pretty well, so that's an option for them. And even though I've lived here for 30 years, 20 some odd years, I would really like, well, retroactive. That'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else like to make comments?
Hi, my name is Renee Watson. I live in Grambling Township. I am here just to introduce myself and let you know that I am the Democratic candidate for State Senate District 14. So thank you very much for having me.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Marissa Prince. I live here in Ortonville. I'm a first-time candidate, so I'm navigating running for office. And I just want to thank the clerk's office. Everyone's been super friendly and helpful with getting me all the voter data that I need. And I know that the clerk's office is always available and willing to help voters. So the last day to register to vote for the November election is October 9th. And November 3rd will be the last day to request an absentee ballot by mail. I'd really like to see higher voter turnout in Brandon Township. When I compare us to other areas in Oakland County, we are not tops, we are bottoms. So I'd just like us to think about what we could do to increase voter turnout in Brandon Township from the township perspective and educating our voters and encouraging them to vote. I'd also like to let you know I'm going to be canvassing in Brandon Township pretty heavily between now and November. And I really hope nobody calls the police on me. But I guess they might when I knock on their door, because I don't think people are necessarily used to that all the time out here. Maybe in the village, maybe they're more used to it. But I'll be canvassing for myself and also a woman that's running for U.S. Congress. So again, thank you, Candy, for all of your support. I know Pleasant Ridge had about 50% voter turnout, and they have cookies at their polling location. And again, so that's something to think about too. People like to, you know, free food. So thank you.
Leave your bagels and donuts to the workers.
Oh,
Free
okay.
coffee.
Thank you. Would anyone?
Hi, I'm Lynn. I live 466 North Shore, Brandon Township. My husband is in Northern Kentucky for Oakland County. He actually has gone over to the lake. And it's just a safety issue. It's just really hard, and a lot of people definitely do not want them out there. And, you know, he explained to a lot of them, and they were a little more receptive about the laws and just jackets on the kids, being aware of how much, you know, when you have to be away from boats and docks, going the correct way of the lake. And, you know, it is a great idea to have them out there. It's needed, especially when there's kids.
Thank you, Lindsay. Would anyone else like to make a comment this evening?
Am I allowed to come back up here?
Sure.
So can you clarify?
State your name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Diane, I live in Brandon Township, Burley. So did the moratorium pass, did that pass tonight? Okay. So then it goes into effect immediately. So then you talked about notifying Lara because the one that came in on our street, we were notified after everything. So how do we prevent that in the future if we have this moratorium in place?
I can discuss this with you after the meeting.
Okay. All right, and then would you be responding to that first Lauer report that you got the response back from? Or is there gonna be an appeal or anything in regards?
One's been filed already.
Oh, okay, great. And then Chris mentioned getting information out to the citizens that we all as a township need to do this. What else can we do? As neighbors, we've printed flyers, we've gone door to door, we've notified everybody of the situation. Several of us meet monthly with Representative Riley. We are in constant contact with his office, pretty much on a day-to-day, if not weekly basis. We've all filed multiple Lara complaints. Kathy, you're the only one that's gotten a response back. They're way past the deadline on 3 complaints that I know of that we haven't heard back on.
No, if I could just answer your question, I realize that there is a definite group of people that has been steadfast, has had their, pedal to the metal, as the saying goes, and you are one of them, and there's several more in the audience, and I want to thank all of you. My only point was that, the more people we can get, if we can get some editorials in the paper, like, hey, people, this is an overall township issue, please get involved, kind of thing, that kind of a.
Well, I understand
But that's all I was at. You
Right,
guys
no,
have
but
done a
how
great
can we
job.
do that as a township? As a township, can you help us get that word out then? Yes, there have been articles in there, but a lot of the response and feedback we're getting, and nothing personal against our articles, because they've been good, is a lot of people think this issue is a done deal. It's not a done deal, and that's what everybody thinks, is that it's a done deal. The 2 sex offenders are gone. It's a done deal. It's not a done deal. We're harassed daily by the employees. You know the issues in that. So, and then regarding the one threat, I understand that's gone to court. We don't, has that gone to court? Has there been?
I can comment on that.
Okay.
That one threat was dealt with. He was charged with disorderly person, which is a misdemeanor crime. We went to court on that. When we interviewed him, he fessed up to the comments that he made, and he went to court and pled guilty to it.
Right, and you sent me that, and I believe I sent that on to the whole group.
You did.
You did.
Somewhere along the lines, some of us get dropped out of that email chain periodically. So, do you know?
That's why it would be really awesome
Yes.
if I had one contact person that could give that information to everybody, they could collect
We have a
information
volunteer
from
here.
everybody.
Maybe you could be that
That
contact
won't
person.
be me. It's that one said kitty corner. That's what can be requested.
Did you see
But
that
so-
look? I got that look before. We sleeping in a bar in town.
It is our understanding that this individual that made this threat was on probation for drugs. Was that determined? Is that?
Whether he was on, first of all, I can't give that information. Whether he was on probation or not has no bearing on the incident that took place there
Okay,
whatsoever.
but wouldn't it have bearing, being that he was employed there with that probation on him?
Not from a law enforcement perspective,
From
as
a
far
Lara.
as far
But
as his
from a
license.
Lara and the owner hiring somebody on probation for drugs
I know we're not supposed to have this back and forth, so let's just get it out there. Lara's position is the guy, as soon as he found out, he got rid of him, and that's all they care about. You can continue to pursue that if you want, but I think you're wasting your time. It's from Lara's perspective, once the business owner found out that this person had any kind of record, he got rid of him, at least as far as we know. It's according to Lara, they said he's satisfied the issue.
As long as he did a background check to start with. What Lara says, as long as he follows the rules to start with, if that background check came out and said it was clear and he didn't have anything, so he went and hired him, but then something happens and we find out he did, as long as he let him go, he fixed the situation. Now, if he never did a background check to start with, that would be another thing, so that's where, but we don't know that. So I can't file a complaint to Lara saying he hired somebody and he didn't do a background check.
We can file a complaint to Lara so that they will investigate on whether or not he did a background check. And if you want the township to help do that with this particular person, you can.
Because that would be the question.
Yeah, in fact, I was gonna get with the township attorney to follow up on that particular incident and see if we can file a complaint regarding it. And probably a follow-up in our part of the complaint will be to determine if this individual had the proper background check.
I think that's good. And well, I gave you guys that article, so this is just something that happened. That wasn't Holly or Highland Township, that was Holly. But this is the kind of thing that goes on in these group homes on a regular basis, so I just happened to come across it today, which was kind of convenient, but just to kind of give you an idea of the things we're up against within our area.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to make a comment this evening? Okay. Seeing no other citizens' comments at this time, it's time for board comments. We'll start down with Chris this time around.
Really appreciate you folks coming out and giving us some more feedback. And you people that have been working diligently, I applaud you tremendously. Keep up the good work, and let's just hope that we can, convince these people that, it isn't over yet, like you mentioned, and that we can get more people involved in writing their senator or representative, and just going after them, bottom line. Because the more people, the squeaky wheel, gets the oil and grease, and that's the same in this case here. So we gotta make as much noise as we can. Not only for Brandon Township, but for everyone in the state of Michigan. This stuff is not good for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do all trustees and then, so, Dana?
I just forgot to mention when we were talking about the Lake Louise was that we are a charter township, not a general township, so I think whoever was quoting about what a general township needs to do is what we're a charter township. So just when you're reading the laws of what charter's supposed to do versus general, that's all that I forgot to mention during that time. Otherwise,
All right, thank you. Terry? Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. I'm writing.
I encourage everyone that's interested in this adult foster care issue to attend the planning commission meeting. You don't have the same kind of feedback beforehand there. It's my understanding that you do during our meetings, but show up, let them know you care. I wouldn't be surprised if the room should be probably the fullest room that the planning commission has ever had, because nobody ever goes to this meeting. And talk about getting people out to our elections. Just put marijuana legalization on the ballot, which we have. People are going to be showing up, and
there'll be cookies.
We'll be I get a contact high just from standing in line. So okay.
Thank you, Scott.
Joe, I got nothing.
Oh.
I got cookies.
I thought you were going to tell us more about the cookies.
No.
Okay. Good.
Oh, boy. Well, I did want to ask a question of the Bald Eagle Lake people. How are the geese, or the swans? How are the swans?
We have 3 swans.
Are they behaving this
They
year?
are behaving.
Okay, good. That's good. And I'm glad that this passed for you guys. I am. I'm in favor of safety for everybody.
Thank you.
I truly am, so. And we're gonna get this Sleepy Hollow thing fixed. We just gotta do it by the law and serve everybody. Your turn.
Okay, I just wanted to touch on a few points regarding the adult foster care facilities. One is owner occupied. It's my understanding that a family home is one where it's owner occupied, and that's for 6 residents or less. But that is separate from a small group home. A small group home is 12 or less. And the small group homes do not have to be owner occupied. And the small group homes can also be 6 or less and regulated by the state. Whereas the ones 7 or greater, the township can have more input in as far as regulating them. And that's my understanding. I'm still working with Lara. They said they would get a PowerPoint to me so that they can talk about the different kinds of adult foster care facilities, and hopefully that would clarify a lot of things. As far as not getting a response from Lara with the complaints you've been filing, I would contact them. Our attorney told us that they had 45 days to reply. But it also said, I read in the law that the local municipality could file complaints. And so you may want to ask if residents can file complaints, and if you can, and they accept them, why aren't they responding? So I would suggest contacting Lara and ask them that question. If you need someone to contact, I think, Scott, didn't you have somebody that you were working with at Lara?
I spoke with Lansing today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Scott might be a good resource for
Yeah.
somebody, and also I have the contact information of who we spoke to when we went to Lansing for our meeting. So I have that contact information to follow up with them. So anyways, glad we had such a large audience tonight. It's nice to see all of you. So thank you for coming to our meeting. And if anyone wants to speak to me after the meeting, I'll hang out as long as my drivers.
Before we adjourn, I just want to say one more thing. I meant to say it when it was my turn. For people, regardless of your issue, but especially for the people that have issues with adult foster care facilities and the way it's affecting their neighborhoods, write the newspaper. One thing I haven't seen is a whole lot of homeowners in the local paper. Get it in the local paper, get it in open press, start raising awareness.
Yeah.
You know, don't assume just because some people have posted on Facebook that the township sees it.
Yeah, letter to
Write a letter,
editor.
write letters. I would be writing letters as much as you can. Get more people. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. All right. I believe we're done, so we need a motion to adjourn, as Clerk Allen has made that motion. Second by Trustee Cordella. All in favor, signify by saying aye.